Hello there, welcome to Knots Today with me, Mark Dennison. I hope you're doing all right. Here's what's on the show for you today. Firstly, we'll be hearing from a small business owner in Hucknall amidst an antisocial behaviour crackdown in the town.
And so the council are saying that at the moment they're really pushing to do more for antisocial behaviour.
No.
What would you say to that?
Nothing, zero. If they say to me I'm lying, I give them the proof.
We've got some great guests coming up as well, such as the local libraries looking to give mental health support to new mums. Inspire Libraries have just launched their Reading Well for Families scheme, where 13 libraries across the county will provide professional approved self-help and support books and online materials to help mums and families during the early years of pregnancy. Also on the way, police officers who solved an horrific Nottingham stabbing a year ago have been speaking about the unique way they cracked the case after winning an award this week for their detective work.
I think there was about 30 officers, 2 dogs, the drone was up, the helicopter was on standby. They managed to get into the address in quick time and sure enough found the suspect in the address.
We'll also be announcing just some of the amazing acts taken to the stage of Nottingham Pride, which returns to our city this month. The 28th annual festival will see some of the LGBTQ+'s biggest names, from drag UK finalists to first-time music acts, and they're all going to be at the largest Pride event in the East Midlands. Details to come. We'll also have a full sports roundup for you as well, including reaction to Nico Williams' contract extension.
I'm just really happy to be a part of getting us back into Europe and to be playing it in next season.
So all of that and loads more coming up for you. But firstly, Ashfield District Council is cracking down on high numbers of antisocial behaviour in Sutton and Hucknall as part of ASB Awareness Week 2025. Community protection teams have been carrying out regular patrols, working closely with business owners to gather evidence through CCTV and with the public through anonymous surveys. But some local businesses in Hucknall don't feel that enough is being done, as Lucy Marshall reports.
Welcome to the town that's been described by some residents as a hotspot for antisocial behaviour. Hucknall is one of Ashfield District Council's current focuses for tackling things like harassment, verbal abuse, drunken behaviour and littering. Hotspot patrols are being run across the district as part of ASB Awareness Week 2025. Charles Edwards, Executive Director of Operations at the council, believes the scheme will be highly effective.
Ashfield District Council invests a huge amount into our community safety team, and we've seen our community protection officers working with partners, and they've been out doing early morning patrols, engaging with residents, and we're doing a number of surveys and consultations with residents. Tell us what's happening within communities and high streets so that we can deal with it. And we have a responsibility to build the trust and confidence with businesses who probably over time have lost that within agencies and therefore think it's not worth reporting, but it absolutely is.
But many small business owners here don't think enough is being done to curb the problem, despite cases being reported to the police. Bala Ibrahim owns Top Drinks on Hucknall High Street. For him, crime is a daily challenge, whether it be shoplifting or even dog poo being thrown into his shop.
I call them, they come in, remove them, but coming back, and my building is very high, and kids climbing up from top. I don't have slab left in the side of my building, all been the floor. And look in my drain pipe, it been broke. I put paint in, put climbing. I put 16 camera outside to record my property. With a knife, they're cutting the rubber.
Falah has previously owned similar businesses in other areas like Staffordshire and says the antisocial behaviour he's experienced in Hucknall is incomparably worse.
And how much is it cost you to do all these repairs?
About 13 grand.
And so the council are saying that at the moment they're really pushing to do more for antisocial behaviour.
No.
What would you say to that?
Nothing, zero. If they say to me I'm lying, I give them the proof.
Nottinghamshire Police were approached for a comment but didn't get back to us in time for our deadline. Police figures show there are about 50 reports of antisocial behaviour across Hucknall every month, more than one a day, and in December there were more than 100. Only time will tell whether antisocial behaviour here will improve, but for now, many people here hope that more will be done to help them. Lucy Marshall for Knots TV.
And just so you know, Notts Police say they are looking into the matter you've just heard referred to in that report. Time now for our first guest of the show, and we all know how important our mental health and well-being can be, but for mums, the need to care for a newborn can mean that self-care can take a bit of a back seat. NHS statistics show that 1 in 5 women will experience mental health problems during or after pregnancy and may also struggle to find support. Now Inspire Libraries have launched the Reading Well for Families scheme that has your local libraries delivering high quality, professionally approved collections of books and online resources, from general health to dealing with the loss of an infant. Here to tell us more is Inspire librarian Ellie Cooper and communications assistant Bethany Wright as well. You're both very welcome. Thanks for coming in. So what's the idea with the scheme, Ellie?
Okay, so we're really delighted at Inspire Libraries to have the new Reading Well for Families book collection available. So it's developed by the Reading Agency, national charity, and it's a collection of 21 books covering 3 core themes of perinatal well-being, mental health and loss. It's helpful for families from conception all the way through to early year childhood, and covering subjects such as perinatal mental health, also solo parenting, things like birth trauma, and also miscarriage, things like that.
Okay. And Bethany, it's fair to say, I touched on the figures there, there's an increased need for this kind of resource, isn't there?
Definitely. So yeah, in the last 8 years actually, it's quite scary to think the perinatal services referrals in England have increased by 443%, which yeah is huge.
Wow.
And myself, I worked on the library floor for sort of 10 years, and you know it wasn't uncommon to have people coming in and asking for support with family issues, whether it be like solo parenting or postnatal depression, and kind of struggling to make that adjustment. So yeah, it's definitely something that we see in the community.
And we do hear a lot, don't we, about the mental health services being so overwhelmed with need at the moment. You've done a similar kind of thing before, haven't you? Tell us about that and how did it go?
Yeah. So Reading Well, there are 5 other schemes. So we've got Reading Well for mental health, Reading Well for children, Reading Well for teens, Reading Well for dementia, and they're all really successful. And when you are dealing with things that relate to the perinatal things, you might not necessarily automatically think about libraries and think about going into that space and think about books, but there's such a great and powerful way to look at personal stories that other people have experienced similar sort of situations, and knowing that people might have gone through similar things to yourself. And we were just saying earlier, there's a lovely C.S. Lewis quote.
Yeah. Oh, now we've both forgotten it. We read to know we're not alone.
Not alone, and that's what this collection is all about.
Yeah.
Sums it up,
yeah.
doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. I know you've both brought some books with you. I don't know, you want to hold up the books. Tell us a little bit about the examples you brought.
Yeah, we've brought kind of a small sample from the collection, so kind of covers a few of the different areas. We've got things like You the Daddy, so specifically for men. The really good thing about this collection is that it is very inclusive. So I know Ellie's got another one here, The Queer Parent.
So this is the UK's first LGBTQ+ parenting guide. Okay. So that's fantastic. And also in the collection, we touch on more inclusive topics like Black motherhood, autistic parenthood. There's also a wordless illustrated book on pregnancy, which might be useful for people with additional needs. But also a core part of this new collection is that it was co-produced, so not only with health professionals like the Royal College of Nurses, but also a panel of families with lived experience of all of these sort of situations, and it allows for some of the collection of books to also be personal stories as well as factual books. So for instance, this Holly McNeish's poetry book here, Nobody Told Me, and it's just really raw and powerful about her son's first 2 years of life. She wrote some of her poems on the toilet, and it's just a brilliant book with some humour in there.
So some real poignant stuff and powerful stuff. If people want to find out more, obviously 13 libraries across the cities where you're doing it, but you're online as well, aren't you, Beth?
Yeah, so the books are available in our 13 biggest libraries, but you can also order them through the catalogue. So if you head to inspireculture.org.uk/catalogue, you can search all of them by title, and if you head to /reading well, you can find out about all 5 of the collections.
Excellent. Thank you both for coming in.
Cool.
Great job. Hope it goes well. Thank you,
you.
Ellie and Bethany there. Time for some news headlines now. And police are searching for a man who slid his phone under a cubicle door to film a female shopper in the women's toilet at Beeston Tesco. Officers say they want to speak to this man about what happened on June the 19th at about 3:30 in the afternoon. Officers say the woman was left very distressed after the incident and urged anyone who can help them to contact them on 101. 2 people have been arrested after a spate of 4 robberies and assaults across the city centre in the space of a week. Pharrell Renshaw, who's 19 and from Ruddington, and a 16-year-old boy who can't be named because of his age, appeared at Magistrates Court on Sunday. They're due back at Crown Court later in July. Both have been charged in connection with the attacks between June the 12th and the 19th. In one of them, a man ended up with a broken collarbone after being punched to the ground in Carrington Street in the city centre. The other attacks happened in the Lace Market, Milton Street and the Arboretum. Now, we'll be back with you after this short break. Loads more still to come on the programme, including news of a return for a record-breaking exhibition at South Wales Minster. You'll hear why the organisers of this year's Nottingham Pride think the event is taking on even more significance. And we'll have all of your sport as well wrapped up nicely in just a moment after this. Hello, welcome back to Knots Today with me, Mark Dennison. This is your show about all the happenings where you live. More great local guests and your sport still to come. First, some more news headlines today. And the boss of former Mansfield textiles business Savannah Rags has been jailed after laundering almost £2 million from a romance fraud operation that devastated vulnerable victims. Ahmed Ali Suleiman, who's 63, was found guilty following a trial in Birmingham. The court was told he would process money for online dating scammers based in West Africa through his Savannah Rags company. He's been sentenced to 4 years and 3 months in prison. The Savannah Rags warehouse burnt down in 2023, leading to the company's closure. And South Wales Minster has been chosen to host the UK premiere of the follow-up to a record-breaking art exhibition. More than 30,000 people visited the church last September to see the longest yarn, an 80-metre depiction of D-Day in wool art. It's now been announced the sequel, called The Longest Yarn 2, Britain at War, will make its first ever public appearance at the Minster from September the 3rd before going on tour. In other news today, police officers who pieced together tiny pieces of digital evidence to solve a stabbing which left a man fighting for his life have been recognised for their detective work. The Notts police team worked on the case of a student left critically injured following the attack along a footpath off Midland Way in Radford in June last year. Doctors said the 20-year-old victim was lucky to survive after an artery was severed and he was left in hospital for 6 weeks. With no witnesses, police had to match CCTV and social media posts to identify London gang member William Osari as the perpetrator. He was later sent to a young offenders institution for 8 years. Detective Sergeant Nigel Malik led the investigation, for which the team involved won a Notts Police Award this week.
We were then able to match some of the images to the CCTV footage we had from the railway station, which ultimately allowed us to actually identify a lad who had the street name of Will's Chops, which is, they pick their own names. So we were then quite happy that we identified that Will's Chop was our offender. We needed the cooperation of the Met. This was going to be quite a big sort of raid on a premises. I think there was about 30 officers, 2 dogs, the drone was up, the helicopter was on standby. They managed to get into the address in quick time and sure enough found the suspect in the address with some of the people as well.
Time for a final guest of the show now, and you may want some sunglasses because this next chat is going to be all about things big, beautiful and bright. That's because Nottingham Pride will be returning to our streets and Sneinton Market later this month. It's the 28th annual event bringing back the Pride Parade that will pass through the city before taking to the big stage with amazing acts from girl band to Drag Race UK's finalist Releaser, with this year also including a brand new acoustic stage too. We've got a lot to cover, and luckily we have Chair Lee Ellis here to tell us all about it. You excited?
Getting there. The plans are always difficult at this stage. We're starting to get to the sharp end of the plans now, so yeah, but I am quite excited, yeah.
Why is Pride so important? And also, especially these days in 2025, would you say Pride is even more important than it has been before?
I think it is, and I think that there was a big turning point with the Supreme Court ruling in April, although we were seeing more of a sway towards one might call right-wing feelings, particularly on our social media posts. But I think the Supreme Court ruling back in earlier this year has emboldened some of those people to be more vocal on social media. For instance, when we put out a press release regarding Notts Pride this year, with all of the stuff that we said we were doing, within the feed, we had around about 700 comments, and some of them weren't very nice. And that just gives you an idea of how some people feel, and why it's more important to bring Notts Pride into the city of Nottingham for visibility, celebration and education for our LGBT community as well, to provide that supportive that supportive environment for one day, but it echoes on throughout the year, and it really gives people the confidence to be themselves as part of the community.
Yeah. I mentioned there it's your 28th year.
Yes.
Do you and your colleagues feel a pressure to sort of improve year after year, to make the lineup, to make the offering bigger and better than ever before?
There's an element of that, but not really, because it's a real community event. So we're very lucky that we've got some great supporters from local businesses and organisations. I mean, one of our principal sponsors, Sladen Estates, makes that possible for us. And one of our biggest costs is the infrastructure, the safety of the event, shutting down roads. Lots of people think that City Council provide us financial support. They support us, and they support us in kind with their experience, and they have lots of valuable experience, but we get billed for that. So the costs come from the money that we raise. But I believe, and I always think back to 2021 when we came out of lockdown and we just did an equality march, thousands of people turned up, thousands of people still celebrated. We didn't have a stage, we didn't have performers. It's nice to have, and those things are nice to have, but what's more important is our community and being visible, and our celebration and supporting each other. And I think whatever format Notts Pride looks like, other people can go and do real big things and charge people for that. Notts Pride needs to remain free and needs to be for everyone to attend.
Yeah. Give us a flavour then of what's coming up very soon. I mean, this is Saturday 26th of July, we should say. I mentioned the acoustic stage is something new. What else have you got?
Yeah, so I've just been over at Sneinton Square earlier on today. We're talking big inflatables. So we're hoping to make the area more colourful. Our stage performers, we've got our lineup. There may be a few more surprises to come along the way. Our acoustic stage, we're still in the process of crafting that, and some exciting speakers that I'm not going to give away just yet.
You're not telling me much, Lee.
You have to
this is all stay tuned for more, isn't it?
You have to be there on a day. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was talking to someone recently about Pride, actually, and she was saying that what's really struck her, because she started coming every year, and she was saying that what struck her is it's just about love. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily, she's not gay, she's not bi, but she feels it's just about love.
I agree, and I think we get caught up in social media and digital technology, and we forget to look around us and see the people, the community that we're part of, and that's what Notts Pride is about. That sometimes you can get caught on these loops when you're on at social media, and it can bring you down. But then when you bring everybody together and see the joy, see the celebration, and people can see that and feel it, then that makes a massive difference. It always uplifts me. It always uplifts me to get out there and speak with people, and not get caught up in that loop.
Through the city, Sneinton Market, as you mentioned, for the sort of finale, if you like, Saturday the 26th, it'll be here before we know it. In the meantime, Lee, what's the best way of keeping in touch with what's going on?
Website, www.notspride.co.uk, Facebook at Nots Pride, Instagram at Nots Pride. We don't use X anymore, but they're the three main channels to contact us.
Okay. And you'll be announcing what all these things are that you're not going to tell me about.
Maybe
it's all right, I'm over it, by the way. I'm not bitter at all, Lee, it's fine. But you're going to be making more announcements nearer the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. Well, look, it's always a joyful event. I hope it goes really well. I'm sure it will do for you and your colleagues. Thank you for coming in. I know you're a busy man.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thanks, Lee. Time for your sport now, and we will start with some news from Nottingham Forest. Fullback Nico Williams has signed a new 4-year contract with the Reds, meaning he'll stay at the City Ground until 2029. The 24-year-old was a key cog in a Forest team that qualified for the Europa Conference League last season, a competition which Williams thinks could bring the Reds their first European silverware since 1980.
I'm just really happy to be a part of getting us back into Europe and to be playing it in next season. It's a competition that we can really go for and try and win it. We just don't want to take part. The aim and the objective is to go and win that tournament. So hopefully by the time of end of next season, we're coming back to Nottingham with a European trophy.
Over to ice hockey now, as Forest are not the only ones making contract extensions during the off-season. Nottingham Panthers are as well. Netminder Luca Sheldon, pictured here on the right, will play his 4th successive season at the Motorpoint. The 22-year-old was part of the squad that won the playoff championship in April when the Panthers beat Cardiff Devils 4-3 in an exciting final. He was also voted as the most entertaining player at the club last season by the fans. Bit of cricket. Notts Outlaws have drawn their county championship Division 1 match against Somerset despite an excellent effort from the batters. Yesterday Jack Haynes reached his century in Taunton before pushing on to 157 alongside contributions from Ushan Kishan and Lyndon James. The league leaders reached 509 all out before claiming a Somerset wicket with the last ball of the day. However, due to a fight back from the home batters, the match has reached a draw this afternoon. Finally, tennis, as Nottingham-born Billy Harris has lost his second round match at Wimbledon despite a gritty fight in the third set. The 30-year-old, who was selected as a wild card for the main draw, beat Dusan Lajovic on Monday to claim a maiden Wimbledon win. However, Nuno Borges proved too strong for the Brit, winning in straight sets. Here's your picture of the day now. This shot of a lovely looking lily pad was taken by Steve Plewinski. And as for the weather forecast, it's been a little bit cooler today. Few showers, not many. Earlier on then sunshine for much of the day. It's going to be cooler this evening, lows of 11 degrees tonight. Tomorrow the sunshine will be back, bringing highs of 23, lows of 13. And those warmer temperatures creeping back up by Friday, and we can expect another day of sunshine, highs of 25, lows of 15 on Friday night. Pollen count staying high for the next few days. That'll do it for today. Thank you for watching. Thanks to all of our guests as well. Emma's here tomorrow. Bye-bye.